Welcome to Control Talk Now, your smart buildings video cast and podcast for the week ending July 12th, 2020. My name is Eric Stromquist, and this is the place where you can get all your HVAC and smart building control news you can use. And joining me, not as usual, is not the man, the myth, the legend, but Rob Allen, who runs the day-to-day at Stromquist & Company, makes it happen. Also, formerly of 7 Minutes in Control. If you hadn't had a chance to meet Rob yet, you're in for a real treat. Rob, welcome to the show.
What's going on, team? How is everybody? It's good to be back. I'm feeling good. It's been like a 20-year hiatus since I've been on this thing. So thanks for having me back, Eric. Glad to be here. Sorry, Kenny, that you couldn't join.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. Well, and as you know, Rob, anytime Kenny Smyers is not on the show, there's always a big competition or question about where in the world is Kenny Smyers. So I happen to know, but I've got a list of possibilities here, and I want you to do your best to guess, and our audience can reach out in comments and guess too. So Kenny Smyers is not on the show this week. Where in the world is Kenny Smyers? Okay, choice number one. As usual, for those of you who don't know, there's rumored that Kenny used to be a Ralph Lauren fashion model. One of the possibilities is Kenny is doing a photo shoot for Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren has got the new cool Ralph Lauren COVID mask. And choice number one is they've asked Kenny to come model COVID mask. So you might be seeing him in GQ or Esquire magazine here in the very near future. That's choice number one. Choice number two, as we all know, Kenny is an ex-Air Force. Rumor has it, military intelligence. When I first met him, he asked me to call him Bond, Kenny Bond, not Ken Smyers. So choice number two is Ken has been hired by the Air Force to go undercover and is doing some deep dive espionage work in Czechoslovakia. Rumor number three, rumor also has it that Kenny has a yacht in the Caribbean, that Kenny has taken the yacht and a few of his friends, including Carly Simon, who rumor has it wrote the song You're So Vain about not Mick Jagger, not Warren Beatty, but Kenny Smyers. So choice number three is Kenny has got his yacht. He's sailing it down off of the coast of Argentina with Carly Simon, his lovely wife Rita, and all kinds of other people. And last but not least, choice number four is Kenny, being super brave, has agreed to be a test subject on a Corona-19 virus. He's willingly injected himself with Corona-19 and has taken the virus so he can protect mankind. Rob, your choice. What do you think, Kenny? Where in the world is Kenny Smyers this week?
So I think I remember from past Control Talk Now, Ken used to wear high heels back in the day, but we had to call them platform shoes. The Ralph Lauren thing seems like that could probably be, something that was a possibility. I think he's probably on his yacht down that Port Royal, which you may know if you follow Drain the Ocean, is basically living hell on earth, and it's where all the pirates basically started from. And so I think he's probably wearing platform shoes, dancing on his yacht down in Port Royal. Hell, maybe he's just down there vacationing with Corona too. Who knows?
Well, you know what, Rob? That's a pretty good guess for a couple reasons. When Rob refers to the platform shoes, for you youngsters, you might not have known, but in the late 70s, there was a discotheque. This was in the age of disco called Studio 54. And it's where all the celebrities went. Mick Jagger, Bianca Jagger, Carly Simon, Andy Warhol, anybody went to Studio 54. And Kenny was a regular there because Kenny was and continues to be a great disco dancer, Rob. So I applaud you for that. I think that's a very good guess that Kenny is dancing disco on his yacht with Carly Simon and his wife Rita and other folks, probably a lot of fashion models, and maybe even Ralph Lauren. He could be doing multiples. So just for our audience, let him know that. But Rob, man, thanks for being on the show. Yeah. We got a great show lineup. Before we sort of get to that, a couple things. I want to talk a little bit about coronavirus, and I know you've done a great job with the team at Stromquist & Company. for our listeners out there, what have you guys done? How is Stromquist rolling? And, how's it affected us at all, if any?
Yeah. So, of course, it's affecting everyone. And it's one of those things that are difficult because no one has a crystal ball for this. And so you plan and then you unplan and plan again. And so essentially the way that we attacked it is we were lucky that we kind of made a move about 4 to 6 months before all this hit to Office 365 and Microsoft Teams, and did a good push towards remote work and things like that. So it felt really good to send out one instant message to the entire team to say, we're gonna work from home. Everybody transition to home on your lunch break, and essentially we didn't miss a beat. So that part was fun. And essentially we had about 90% of our staff working from home for all of March, April, and May. And me and Chuck Chittick and Michael Bonner and Chris Frary came in each day, and we were about the only ones in the building, along with the guy at the counter and our warehouse crew, who's just done a great job. And we haven't slowed down with shipping or anything like that. So that part of it was good. Now that we've seen that things are starting to reopen a little bit, we've gone to a red team, blue team. So it's totally optional if you want to come back, but we had some folks stir crazy that just needed to get back into the office environment. So for 1 week, half the company can come in, and then the next week the other half can come in. But if you're not comfortable, you can certainly still stay working from home. We've set up social distancing at the counter, and so there's really good instructions all over the place of how we want to keep our customers safe. Something that was really neat is we had started to, before we knew all this was going to happen, start a way that we could have customers come in, bypass the counter, and just pick their orders up that they'd already placed online or called in, without having to wait in line at the counter. And we kind of had not a whole lot of adoption at the beginning, but a fair amount. And we rebranded it as contactless pickup.
Nice.
And boom, all of a sudden it's prompted us to, we've had overwhelming support with that. And so we actually had to redo the front of the warehouse to add more shelving so that people could come in, and you essentially just use your mobile app after you sign up, that we've created, and it tells you what shelf your product is on, and you just walk into the building, walk to your shelf. The app will tell you what to do from there, and you walk out with your product, not having to touch a human, talk to a human, anything like that. So yeah, trying to do what we can to keep people safe, but continue to to be business as usual.
No, great. And I want to applaud you and David Stromquist, because when this thing first started hitting, and you guys did a great job of bulking up on the inventory in case there were any supply line shortages. So, fortunately, we got a warehouse full of product, and so we're really prepared for that. But Rob, I also want to ask you, for our listeners who might not know, Stromquist has been around a lot longer than me, a lot longer than Rob. And when I got there, Rob, starting at Stromquist, we had some real veterans of the old control days, guys like Russ Cates, David Cates' dad, and all that. So we still got a lot of people in the building that are sort of trained in the old ways, if you would, back to the Wheatstone Bridge and all that kind of stuff. We obviously have the people that do the building automation controls and all. It seems like there have been some really new opportunities created, with some older type controls, some sort of simplistic steps you can take, one of them being making sure you got your humidity controlled properly. That showed to help reduce the spread of coronavirus. There are other products, like we handle the ionizers, that are a very inexpensive alternative to like the UV lights, a lot less. And, we've done those for years. That seem to help with corona too. But speak, if you would, a little bit about what you're seeing when the contractors come in or they call. What are some opportunities now because of corona that maybe they didn't have pre-coronavirus?
Yeah, it's interesting what people kind of go to as far as a solution or something. And so we've had everything from how do we do thermal imaging to make sure people aren't sick when they're entering our building? How do we count the people in the building? A lot of these new things that have been around, but now are kind of more prominent, need. And so we've done a lot to kind of make those connections and let those things resonate for people. Some things that we've had for a while that are truly coming back is network security and indoor air quality and remote access. So a lot of these, unoccupied buildings that people aren't allowed to go to, Box has been a great partner to us long before this, but we're selling a lot of Box to a lot of people that need remote access
For
solutions.
people that might not know, sort of just give them a high level view of what Box actually is.
So it's great. It's simple hardware. It's a lock and it's a key, and you essentially can set up an OT network configuration free in just a matter of minutes, and then you remotely access that network with two-factor authentication, which is a USB key that you plug into the side of your laptop, and then the credentials that you have. And with one key, you can see multiple locks. You can have multiple keys access a single lock, and from one screen, a person can view all the remote sites or the locks that they have and get into those. So it actually makes their present job easier and simpler, but then it also protects them. Any devices behind that Box are protected.
So for, let me make sure I got this right. So for our integrators out there that are running into the IT people saying, we don't want your system on our network, which can make a lot of sense. Is the Box essentially creating a separate secured network for the building automation control? Okay,
so
perfect. Yeah,
it's
low cost too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a low cost solution that works as good or better than a lot of the other stuff. No static IPs, so you're not spending that money. No cradle point routers or 4G routers or anything like that. You're essentially just, if there's internet, you plug it in, and then anything that you run off the back, which would be your building automation network, is now protected, and you're accessing it, with that key.
Very, very cool. Very cool. And, now it seems like we're doing a lot with the ionizers too. Speak about that if you would. I mean, we were one of the early adopters with the ionization product, which again is a low cost solution. I know a lot of people are going with UV lights now to kill germs and stuff like that. But speak if you would about the ionizer and sort of how that works a little bit.
Yeah. So we've had IR for a really long time. And then obviously now, there's a true need for it. It's funny. I was reading a book the other day that said that people make buying decisions when if they're not actively looking for something, they may buy it when it's twice as good as what they have currently. And I thought that was kind of neat. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a big need, for this type of stuff. And so bipolar ionization is the technology that IR uses, which will create positive and negative ions in the air, and the negative ones attached to the positive things that exist in the air, which are basically the germs and the bad stuff. And from there, it effectively kills it, drops to the floor, and you clean this up through your normal cleaning process. This has no corona discharge, so that's something that you'll hear a lot. Is a lot of the ionization is actually harmful for humans, but bipolar ionization is something different. We've had this down at the aquarium for a really long time. We one of the things it does is even for odor. So we were kind of pleasantly surprised when we installed these many years ago at the aquarium for odor, and it helped with the penguins and a little bit of skin stuff that they had on them. So stuff's really neat. And
well, hang on,
applications.
I want to tell a little story about that, because essentially what it does is it, in layman terms, basic layman terms, is whatever particles you got, it sort of clumps to them and makes them fall to the ground, and it includes killing odor and whatnot. And I remember at my old house in Emmons Park, when we had these damn dogs, man, and they stunk. The house stunk. And so like the second floor, third floor. So anyway, Tim Bonner was helping me. We installed one on the first floor, which is the floor that really stunk. And so he put it in, and you can use it for commercial, heavy and commercial, or even residential. And so we installed in the first floor unit, and then we went up to do the second floor unit, third floor unit. So all this took maybe 35, 40 minutes. But by the time I got back down to the first floor unit, I'm going, I don't smell, it doesn't smell anymore. It just completely killed the odor. So I know it's been a big thing, like in cigar type or bars and stuff like that, because it just really takes the odor out. But again, I think it's effective. It's another possible prevention thing for COVID. I'm not going to go on record as saying it kills COVID, but I think we get the IR guy to go on and say it does. And if you research it, but again, that's kind of cool stuff. So any other cool products you finding people hopping in on these days? You mentioned
Yeah.
indoor air quality and stuff.
So, one relatively new one is Totem, Totem, and we're just getting going with these guys, and they essentially um, offer network security auditing software in its simplest form. And so it's software that we would audit, that we would run on a building network to determine where you're vulnerable, and then from there we can offer various solutions to determine what needs to happen to make sure that you're not vulnerable. I'm supposed to be on a call with those guys right now, so forgive me because I'm promoting your product on Controltrends, and so that's probably a
Well, yeah.
good reason not to be
Well,
on there.
listen. I tell you what, they're just going to have to wait because we got a great guest lined up. But
Yeah,
before we get to our guest, Rob, let's talk about business because I kind of had a philosophy when I was doing the day-to-day stuff that when we went through a slump sales wise, it was a great time to get better. And I think with COVID, it's changed kind of the way we're doing business. Speak a bit about what you and the team are doing during this sort of
yeah,
change in business climate.
yeah. It's a scary feeling when someone just turns off the faucet, and you're kind of sitting there trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do next, and how do you keep employees morale up. Everyone's worried about what the future holds, and that type of stuff. And so, you know the first thing that we did, and I was glad that we were in a position as a company to do this, but we stocked up on inventory. We figure that if there's going to be some supplier problems, value add distribution, we should have local inventory available. And so we did that, and that's been proving to be really good for us and anyone that purchases from us. And then we just went back to basics. We had a whole lot of pet projects that we had in the hopper for things that we wanted to do and accomplish, but we were so busy. We had to put those things on the back burner. They say the mechanic, his car is the least reliable of all of them because he never gets time to work on his own car, right?
Right.
So we invested in a learning management system that backbones off of Salesforce, which is what we use as basically the spine of all that we do here. And vendors and suppliers started doing a whole lot of training when we kind of were dead in the water for a little while. There was not a whole lot of business. So that came at a perfect time because we were able to take a lot of that training and put it into learning modules for our team to get better technically. We were able to take a lot of our folks that have been here for 30 and 40 and 50 years that are really, the David Cates of the world, that Chuck Chiddicks of the world that really have all of that knowledge. And we're able to put those in a format where younger people could learn the industry in that way. We took a lot of time to make sure that our salespeople were geared up with how to present certain products that we knew that we were going to have to present, and solutions for our customers down the road, and just data and metrics and insight and capabilities to see, how the business is running and what we can do different. The number one thing, though, that we've spent more time on than anything is our website.
Yeah.
And I'm super, super, super happy for Michael and his team, Kevin Knoll, and Chuck, for all that they've done with our website. Our website's not so new anymore. It's that thing almost 3 years old.
Well, the new version of it, Chuck Chittick. We were one of the first people to have an online website, but
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
newer
yeah.
version, yeah,
The
the newer
newest
version.
version is the newest version is about 3 years old, and leaps and bounds better than what we came from. But what it really lacked, and what's really the time consuming part, is to get content on there that's valuable and usable in an organized manner where a customer can go and use our website as a resource. And so while the front facing part of our website hasn't changed very much, the back end of it, where products that are on there, search functions to get you what you truly need, resource sites where you can go and learn everything that you want to know about Tossie Box and iAir and Totem that we just mentioned. We have whole pages built out with everything that you could ever want to know about these. Truly, it's kind of it's kind of neat. We've essentially taken all the what we feel like are the good parts of all the different supplier websites out there, condensed them down into a really organized version for our customers to look at.
No, listen, I want to applaud you for that, man. Hope I can get you to show us a little bit of it, because I'm super proud of what you and the team have done with the website. And I think that for our audience out there, the new normal, I think, is we'd already seen more and more people buying online. So I think having a website that really promotes your business is critical. So, Rob, I know you guys didn't do these upgrades and updates in a vacuum. Speak, if you would, about sort of, for listeners out there, maybe go, yeah, I probably need to update my website. What are some tips you can give them in terms of, how to go about it? I know you guys got a lot of input from customers and stuff like that, but give them 2 or 3 tips if they're going to renovate their website that they should be paying attention to.
It's real simple. Here's 3 really good tips. Make sure you have a Michael Bonner on your team, a Chuck Chittick on your team, and a Kevin Nall on your team. I wish I could go really, to more in depth. But the real answer to your question is you got to try and think like a customer. And I think that our industry really suffers badly from the marketing that we do is so technically focused. I can't tell you how many presentations I've sat through where they'll start talking about the millimeter difference in valve openings and the extra input that they have. And you got people sitting here going, what does that truly, mean to me? And I think it's lost on a lot of people. And what we need to get better about is sales marketing. How do we truly, what is it first and foremost, and how does it work? Very simply. And how do you put that in a concise manner? And that truly is our website. It's user friendly. So we can go and Google search term at the very top and find anything on our website. And if you type in a part number, it'll give you all the various different, I could probably show you easier.
Yeah. Will you show us? Can you do a screen share real quick and show us?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So it's, user friendly. And so what we like to do is you can come up here and type in anything that you're looking for, and it's going to give you relevant. Before you even hit enter, just type in something like Belimo. Obviously you can do anything. It's going to give you what you might be talking about from a part number perspective, items, categories, and then obviously brands would pull up. So start there, and type in either a term or a part number that you're looking for, and see if anything pulls up. We've spent a whole lot of time building out these product categories so that you can come in and essentially filter down for things. And I don't have my proper rights turned on real quick, but we can, hopefully this will go through. When you're a customer, it's going to, the website, when you log in, it's going to provide your pricing. This is list pricing. So don't freak out.
It also looks like it's restricted items too that are only based on a certain territory. The ones you got up there right now.
Yep. And so, but what I wanted to show is that you have filters over here so that you can come down to essentially, exactly what you're looking for by using those product categories to so if you don't know what you're looking for, search first and go to the product category and start filtering down, and you'll find some stuff there. From a resource perspective, though, if you hit this resources, this is essentially for our customers. So cross-reference, you can come in here and pop in any part number that you have if you know that it's something that's older. And we've spent a bunch of time on the back end making these cross-references. And you'll type it in, and it'll give you the cross-reference and even a link to where you can even order it, right from the website.
Perfect.
Literature area. So you come in here, you put your quote or your order number in here, and it'll take all the parts that are on that quote or order, and it'll give you all the documentation that you need for submittals or instructions on how to do whatever. All that's there. The line card. These are all the products that we sell. And I think that you'll find that, as a distributor, we're an extension of you guys. And so this is stuff that, you don't necessarily need to sign up for and try to do whatever. We offer it here, and we've got some really smart people and experts that can help you through. But as you go and click on each one of these links, it'll take you to the page that'll give you an overview of what it is. Um, Featured products. This is the meat and potatoes. So the iAir, you're interested in iAir.
Yeah.
We've built out a feature page that I think looks really nice. So right out of the gate, we're giving you kind of the high level, what is it? And then up here, we've got white paper and brochure. So if you want to download to send to someone, um, obviously click more info, but then we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of how's it work or what is it? Um, and if you need more info, just click the button, type it in. One of our salespeople, either outside salespeople or one of our technical inside salespeople, will respond back to you. But spend some time here. If you're a building automation nerd or a controls industry nerd, don't look at Instagram and Facebook at lunch. Just come to this featured products
Nice.
thing and
Here we
spend some
go.
time here because
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff. Um, if you've got a little bit more time, I kind of want to run you into a couple more things.
Sure.
Okay, don't want to bore you too much, but promotions will be here, and then fast lane is something that's pretty neat. So um, we've essentially made it where it's contactless pickup. So you sign up online, and then you use the mobile app here to come into the building. We'll tell you what shelf that it's on right there in the front of the warehouse behind the counter in Atlanta, and you can just go grab your box and walk out with it and sign out on your phone. Don't have to wait in line. Don't have to talk to anybody. Don't have to do anything. So you can just come right here to the Fastlane to sign up for that.
Way cool.
Um, and then when you come here, you have to be logged in as a customer to see a lot of the data. But obviously, I think that you'd find it a little bit quicker than calling in, waiting on hold to have one of us look it up. If you have your order number, invoice, or PO number, you can pop this in here and we'll give you the tracking number or we'll give you the status of your order basically. It's ready. We're still waiting on a couple items or, whatever the true status is. This is going to keep track of any orders, whether they're placed online or over the phone through our normal tab. So this will be all your recent orders. And then this is your website orders. And then from here, where it gets kind of neat, anything you order online, order-wise, not just order numbers, but order-wise, is going to pull up frequently ordered. So obviously, we order a lot of the same thing over and over and over. We can kind of forget what exactly that part number was, whatever. Hit here, it'll give you all the parts that you've ordered. Order templates is neat because you can go in and create like say you're a Facility Explorer integrator and you want to build out what JACE you use, what controllers you use, the wall modules and the wire and all that stuff, and you want to put it all in this one section and almost have it like an order tablet. So you go in each time, everything that you use is right there, and you just put the quantities for what you want, hit send to order, and it pops it into your cart for you, and boom, you go from there. And you can build that out and share those within your company, however you want.
It's way cool, Rob.
Super cool. I think that's the high points.
Well, so you can sign up. Obviously, our customers have existing accounts, but what if, again, with the supply chains being what they are, what if you don't have an account but you want to order something? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. All you need to do is just come to this My Account section, and don't have an account, hit sign up, and we'll have a quick turnaround vetting process just to make sure that your accounts, we don't want anyone signing up under someone else's account.
Right.
But then if you want to sign up, for a fresh new account with us, you can do that, and you'll be able to order same day from our website.
No, it's very cool. What about using a credit card? Could you call up and order something with a credit card if you wanted to?
Absolutely. We'll do credit cards. After we get you set up on credit, you can do POs however you want. Yeah.
Perfect. So, again, encourage you, reach out to your local distributor first, but if they don't have it and you're in a jam, we've invested a lot in inventory, so we should be able to help you out. Rob, great job on the website. Very impressive. Stromquist.com. All right. Hey, Rob Allen, man, I tell you what, we've got a fantastic guest. We've been trying to get this guy on the show for a while. He's one of my favorite people in the industry. How about introducing our guest this week?
Man, fantastic. I don't know, if that's the proper word for this guy. It's kind of more like ultra awesome, super cool, fantabulously fantastic. This guy gets it done. He's been a mentor to me in a lot of ways. He's been a good friend, and he's been someone that really gets the industry and gets people. I love working with him. I love working with his team. It's obvious that team is a big part of what he does. I admire how he can be your friend, and I've seen him getting those dudes tail a little bit, and but it's all love. And so yeah, I'm happy to have Stephen Johnson from McKenneys join us today.
Stephen, welcome, buddy.
Thank you guys so much, man. Rob, I'm going to have to say you win for the most awesome office picture behind your head. That's fantastic. And it's been a privilege to get to know you both. Y'all are certainly business friends and business partners to me and my company. And we've been able to do a lot of great things together. And I'm excited sort of to be on this show today. It's not my wheelhouse, man. I'm not a big let's get out and talk to the world kind of guy, but I think it's important to just tell each other stories and keep it conversational today. So thanks for the opportunity to talk.
Well, brother, glad to have you. And first off the bat, a rumor has it you're not wearing pants. Is that true?
Oh, man, just to confirm. All right.
Yeah, well, I know Rob's not wearing pants. So Rob, we do not need evidence.
There's a need.
Which is
There's a need.
fairly indicting, man, because he is at your office right now. So that could be problematic for your HR team. So,
well, it could be. But let's start with this. Let's start with a story that goes back a long, long way, which is my dad and David McKinney's dad. Both got started in business about the same time. And, you know, Stephen's company is McKenneys. And so we've had a long, great relationship between our two companies. But for people who might not know about McKenneys, how about telling them what you guys do?
Sure, man. So our story goes back to the 40s, post-war environment. And John McKinney Sr. Just saw a business need, a community need, a customer need. Started out as a tire recap company, then did some small appliances stuff, got into floor furnaces, and just the evolution of that company over 70 plus years has followed what the customers need. Early buildings in Atlanta back in the 40s again, the evolution of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's been very interesting as we tell the story in this crazy business environment that we all find ourselves in. One of the most peaceful things to me is working for an organization that's already lived through so much adversity. Certainly your dad and the McKinney's family think about all the things that have happened throughout time over the last 70 years. So being able to be a part of that with such a rich history of taking care of customers, providing great mechanical services, contracting, engineering, controls, energy, plumbing services. So it just really runs the gamut, and the evolution of our business follows the needs of the customer. As you guys will hear, that's going to be a consistent theme in our story today is, you know, what can we best do to help our customers and McKinney's be successful? It's a partnership with both. So it's a privilege to be a part of that story. I just brushing up a little bit, kind of thinking about that. It was just a fresh reminder at dark 30 this morning of what a privilege it is to work for such a place and have great partnerships like you guys. So it's a cool story, and I invite people to come check it out. It really is.
Yeah, well said, Stephen. And I think that, you know, you guys have evolved so much over the years, but you do everything from service to tenant build out to building automation controls to industrial stuff, pretty much anything you need regarding mechanical, electrical, or, you know, controls you guys do, and sort of about, you know, how you guys really adapt to the customer needs. I remember when you took over the building automation controls department. And up till that time, you guys were pretty much, you had one brand that you guys were promoting as a solution. It's a great brand. Don't get me wrong, it was a great brand, but you came in and the first thing you said, the first leadership decision you made, which really impressed me, is you said, hey, look, we're going to become pretty much brand agnostic. We're going to go through and we're going to find out the different brands and the nuances, and we're going to start doing absolutely what's best for the customer versus what's best maybe for McKinney's. Speak about that if you would, because I thought that was a huge proclamation on your part.
Sure. So we found ourselves out of alignment. Our construction division of the company was able to put in whatever the specification required or whatever the brand the customer wanted. Certainly, our service department could work on anything. Our tenant department, our special projects department, they could go and literally put in systems in almost any building in the city. But yet here we had a great brand and a great product, but our hands were tied to go and support the other businesses at McKinney's. So it was a very easy decision to look and say, if McKinney's service can go and work on any piece of equipment in the city of Atlanta, pretty much, I've got to hurry up and get my business aligned to do the same thing. And certainly the whole wrapping paper for all of that was, man, let's help our customers have better customer service, more talented technicians, and be able to literally work on most of the systems here in Atlanta. So it's been a very good decision to follow and align with the rest of our businesses at McKinney, able to support this customer base that literally is the best in the world. So it was, it made sense at the time. It continues to make sense every day as we're out there in the marketplace. So it's been a good decision.
Very
And
cool.
to add to that, it's one thing that you've said over and over that resonates with me is just we're customer centric. We're going to do what's best for the customer, and at the end of the day, truly, if that starts to resonate to your customers and they get that level of trust, that's where things really start to matter. Relationships aren't everything, but they're a big part of it, in my opinion, and maybe the biggest part of it. And so it's been cool to kind of see where McKinney's for a while there was kind of in a way maybe painted in bad light, starting to kind of get that little thing in the market as far as kind of we've got an agenda, etc. And just to see that total morph, and now it's that bar none truly trusted partner in the industry, has got to be a good feeling for you guys, and I know it is for us as well too.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up, that we were kind of struggling in the marketplace. Because we had gone a single line of product, it became really difficult to be competitive. It became really difficult to take care of McKinney's shared customer base. So I certainly follow along with your line of thinking, and I don't want anyone to think that this has been all easy, because it certainly hasn't. When you make such a leap, trying to convince vendors and partners and everybody that, man, this is a great idea to let one guy do a lot of these products, has been a little bit frightening, but they've seen it works, and it's we're here to get, I want anybody that wants that product to be able to get it, to have market share. I don't think it should be fearful for anybody. Again, the key to this story is applying the technology that the customer really wants, and looking at their overall facility and helping them decide what is best for their overall facility. That's the whole definition of our controls brand agnosticism.
Yeah, for sure. So there's millions and millions of viewers tuning in today to watch this, and so they
Millions.
aren't
Millions.
all,
I felt that. I really did. That's why I took extra time to do my hair this morning. Eric did too. It's good.
Millions, billions.
So not everybody is in Georgia or the Southeast, and so why don't you take a quick second, let everybody know what some of your main lines are or what your central focus is.
Sure. So first of all, we're both in Atlanta and Charlotte. We're growing our business in Columbus. We're growing all over the place. So we are very successful with the Tritium product line. And then for field level devices, those kind of things, we are a Distech partner, a Johnson Facilities partner. We do some Train. I'm trying to think, of course, Honeywell, and those are kind of our big ones. And I'm sure I'm leaving something out, and I've got to think for just a second because of all these trick questions. But those are really where we go and try to apply these products in the marketplace. And it really kind of follows what construction's doing, or it follows what's already in the property. So really seeing, again, what is the best application for the customer. all of those product lines right now are doing some really cool things. They're very passionate about growing their technologies. They're very passionate about making it easier to install, certainly easier for the customer to use, more dependable. And I have to give you guys a shout out because you guys are leading some of the thought on some of these providers that don't lock you into 20 years worth of, product exclusivity. And it's been very good to be able to go to that customer. And this is counterintuitive. So hear exactly what I say. If the customer needs to fire me, I want them to be able to do it. And I want you to let that sink in for a second, because that's scary. That's a very scary statement even for me to make. But if I can't build my business based on taking care of that customer and providing top tier talent to respond to their needs, then I need to not be taking care of that customer, right? So giving them a way to say, man, if you had to, you can literally go buy this stuff at Stromquist. That's the best option that I can possibly give that customer. That way I have to get up and earn my business reputation every single day.
At the end of the day,
that permeates our business, man. It's how I was raised in business, and I will continue to operate that way. I think it's important. So
no, and that's perfectly well said, and that does permeate, for your crew, by the way, and potentially to add to with a counterpoint. I admire in a lot of ways too how you guys won't just go out and just do any product. You're going to go and vet it and make sure, even if it means that you feel like you're turning down money, if you don't believe in it, if you don't think that it's the right solution for the customer, if you think that they're overpaying, if you think whatever. I've seen you guys walk away from very big, high profile projects.
And man, you can't tell people that kind of stuff. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it is scary though. I mean, but if it's not right, it's not right. And we're all in this to make a living and take care of our families. And I respect that and I get that. But I don't want to be locked into daily misery, right? Yeah. And I don't want my customers to be. If it's not a good fit for them, why am I going to do that to them? I don't want it done to me, Right. So it's got to make sense.
Well, Stephen, I think too, and what we really trade on, this is a small industry if you think about it. What you really trade on is your integrity and your reputation, and it doesn't take much to get a bad rap. So, I admire about, McKenneys is like Stromquist is always reputation first, taking care of the customer, doing the right thing is what counts. So, you guys are all about that. So are we. I want to sort of get back with a change that I'm seeing, getting back to this, one product line. And it used to be as a distributor and as a contractor that, you would get a piece of dirt. That would be your dirt. And then you had to make a quota and you had to push that product, whether it made the most sense or not. And I know that changed with the internet, right? For at least the distributors, because they can't enforce that. So people pretty much sell wherever they want to sell. But the other change that I'm seeing with the savvy building automation controls people like McKenneys is, the whole brand agnostic thing. You still have people that are factory direct. They buy direct from the factory and I'm brand X and that's my brand and that's all I do and I'm an expert at it. And, that logic can hold a lot of sense. But these companies are sort of leapfrogging each other vis-a-vis technology. And what I'm getting at is some customer, people listening might go, well, how does somebody keep up with all these product lines? But I think that if nothing else, McKenneys and Stromquist sort of demonstrate how a distributor and an integrator can work together really, really well, because, you guys certainly have tremendous expertise in virtually everything. And part of what we're doing as a distributor is making sure we're able to back you up with that. So if somebody has a product line you don't work with every single day, we've got people that can help support that. And speak, if you would, a little bit, because you guys, have some factory direct relationships, of course, but then you also have the distributor relationships with people like us. Speak, if you would, a little bit about what makes a distributor contractor relationship work and what makes a factory direct relationship work.
Yes, I mean, I've lived through both, and I think most of us have. And again, it goes back to application for the customer. If you're part of a big group business, there might be an industry standard in your business that you're required to use a large proprietary provider, and that's certainly fine. But for most of my customers here in the Southeast, we found that they want a few options, right? And they specifically want the options that is user friendly. Product is, for lack of a better word, gettable. They can get what they need. There's not these crazy lead times. We're not waiting for, um, what am I trying to say? Rob, what's the word? Uh,
Like availability or
yeah, availability or supply chain. There we go.
Yeah.
We're not fighting for supply chain problems, right? So I think again, man, I'm not going to say it levels the playing field, but it makes it very easy for them to have confidence that, again, if something were to go south, there's other people in the marketplace that could do it. They can go right down the street to the store. More importantly, they could use y'all's new website to get what they need, and those kind of things. So it's all of the above. And the other thing for me is, and you guys know this, I'm all about business partnerships. If we can't solve it over dinner, we're not where we need to be. So, between the business partnership aspect, technical support, holy smokes, man. I've got not only my team working on innovation and problem solving, and, problems never come in the middle of 8 to 5 on a great day. They always come at 3 in the morning on July 4th when you want to be with your family. So you got to have people and relationships and, for lack of a better word, network and friendships. Dude, it is about friendship. I want to do business with my friends that are my business partners, right? And we all have skin in the game to be successful. And that's not always true with big businesses. You want to think it is, but at the end of the day, somebody's always trying to hit a target. We're all measured by our financial success, our how many customers have we onboarded, those kind of things. And sure, certainly there's bits and pieces of that with my company, but it's more about how many customers are we taking care of? Are we giving them the right things? Is our brand growing in a positive way every single day for both your company and my company? So ease of being able to get things, technical support, a person that you can call their cell phone if something gets real, man. That's why I like this model. And certainly, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of these big brands and the proprietary stuff has that. But I have found this to be a very rewarding way to do business. So
Right.
I'm really not ready to mess with it.
No, I understand, Stephen. And my experience has been so many of the building owners have gotten really savvy. I mean, they understand, working with somebody that just handles one brand, the pros and cons of that. But I think they're beginning to appreciate more an integrator like MCKenneys that, has options and can present them with choices and can support multiple brands, because most buildings don't just have one brand in all their facilities. And you guys are well equipped to work mechanically as well as control wise on multiple brands. But Stephen, I want to shift gears just for a second here, because talking about stories, you've got quite a story. And when I think of Stephen Johnson, I think of a couple of things. I think of a great leader and somebody with a lot of integrity. And, you could argue that great leaders are made, not born. And I think in your case, maybe there's a combination of the two. But speak a little bit about your background and some of your mentors and how that's translating into how you treat your customers and your employees.
Okay, well, thank you. I mean, you're very kind in that. I hope my internet holds out here because I'm out in the country today. But, I had the privilege of studying under some great people. I worked directly with Truett Cathy of Chick-fil-A. I worked directly with S.K. Cannon of Ford Motor Company. I've worked with some amazing people directly. And, I think it could be summed up like this. Mr. Cathy used to say, you can make 20,000 good sandwiches for a customer. And the one thing they're going to remember is the one that they just got today that wasn't awesome. So, I mean, you combine that with taking care of people. I have to go here for just a second. Everybody knows Mr. Cathy was a person of faith. His life story was centered around this. Proverbs 22:1, a good name is rather to be chosen than great money, great riches, right? So if we apply that to our business, man, yeah, it takes you selling one bad batch of product and not being willing to do anything about it, or me putting in a system that just flat didn't work. And it doesn't matter whose fault it is. John McKinney and Stephen Johnson's name is hanging on top of that product, as is Stromquist. So, man, that really grows you into who you are as a leader. And the other thing is guess what, fellas? We are all in the people business. We are growing somebody, right? And if you're not, then you are a manager and not a leader, right? So we have to be growing our replacements. We have to be helping people to grow to be better than we, whether it's at the field technician level or whether it is at our store level. You got to be growing yourself and you got to be growing somebody else. So I think those are my kind of important conversations for this morning. Man, please grow your people. It's now more important than ever to retain your best technicians, to make yourself a company that people really want to come and be a part of. It's not just about controls, not at all. Where can your people that work with you grow and get the best training in the world and support the best product lines that they really want to learn how to work on and get factory certifications for those product lines, and then have business partners like yourself and John McKinney that are truly vested and truly interested in their well-being, helping them grow as a high-level professional. Guys, we're in the IT business. We're not in the thermostat business anymore. We've transitioned, right? So you got guys that have to have a tool bag and a whole, network of computers to be able to go work on this stuff. And I wanted to go back to a question that you said earlier, talking about all of these brands. Guys, we're not just controlling temperature and lights in a building anymore. We get calls every single day. Hey, can a building automation system do this? And should we do it? Right? So if you're locked into a system that historically for the last 50 years, all they've really done is control lighting and generators and temperature control, no, you probably can't do it. But with the modern stuff, you're talking about the savvy customer, the first thing we all do when something's broke is we go to YouTube or we go to Google and we say, what do we think it is before we even pick up the phone? Unless it's plumbing, and plumbing, you just pick up the phone, right? But what do we think's going on? What do we not ever want to happen again? Can we Google it? Can we YouTube it? And being able to add layers onto these systems to do stuff that it's never wanted to do before, especially in light of our current, socio-political and medical climate in our country. We're called upon to do stuff that we've never been asked to do before. So this is an interesting time to be in this business.
Well, I want to ask you more about that, and I know Rob does too. But before we do that, I want to follow up on something you said, about what it's like to work with the team at McKenneys. And to put this in perspective, a couple things you guys do, I think, is you really encourage your people to pursue their passions at work. And it seems like, from my experience, you create career paths where people can do what they're passionate about. And I'll give you a great example. Back before cybersecurity was even considered a major issue in building automation controls, McKinney's spawned a young man who saw that as what was going to become a potential problem and wanted to become more of an expert on it, and he did. And right now he's not with McKinney's anymore. He's doing his own thing with Intelligent Buildings with Fred Gordy. So Fred's a friend of yours, a friend of mine, but I bring him up for two reasons. Number one, the fact that you guys are always forward looking. You don't roll stuff out until it's really ready. And, you're sort of always planning for the future and the future needs, which gets back to what you just said. But speak about, like, for example, with Fred and that path and cybersecurity, and for building owners that are not paying attention to that, what they should be paying attention to, and sort of how you guys are rolling with that.
Sure. So, Fred affectionately known to me as Skeeter. But Fred's a good dude, man. He actually was one of the people that let me even know about some job openings at McKinney's back in 2013. But uh, Fred's a very smart guy. I knew him personally long before McKinney's, and he is a very forward-thinking individual that was working at the time for a very forward-thinking company. We're asking ourselves, what are our customers going to want? What is the marketplace going to require of us versus living all the time, which is the worst thing you can do. Living in the present is okay for this week, but you really have got to live in, when I first started in business, we were writing 20-year plans. There's nobody in business that writes it anymore. Then it was 10, then it was 5. At best, we're all seeing maybe an 18-month plan, and right now we're having a 1-month plan, right? So
yeah,
just looking ahead at what is the industry going to require of us, and how do we not bleed the way, but lead the way. And Fred, man, he always had a passion about the cyber angle of this, and just looking into what is going to be risk. How do we mitigate risk? How do we do analysis on systems? And it's not only our job, but it's our responsibility to protect our customers from things they don't even know they need protecting from. Really getting out ahead of that and saying, man, if we're going to be on networks or create networks, not if, when, we have to be responsible and write the standard, because at that time there was none. Write the standard for how this is going to work. And certainly Fred has a tremendous role in that story. I still consider him a friend. We don't talk as often as we should, but I know that he's my neighbor. So if we pick up the phone, it's just going to be like we were having coffee yesterday. So you got to think about what's coming, and what should be. Can be is a scary thing, right? Can be makes you make bad decisions. Can be says, yeah, we could go out and do all kind of stuff, but should be is a much more responsible thought. And we love to grow and innovate and create people with that mindset. It's the story of our industry. Inquisitiveness and controls are synonymous, right? We all want to make stuff do stuff that we never knew that it could, right? So it's a very cool industry to be in, but you have to have a lab mindset, right? Every room you go in is a lab. Y'all done this, I'm sure you have. Y'all, here's a Southern thing, but you go into a hospital, or you go to a doctor's office, or you go to a restaurant. First thing you're doing is look at the thermostat and see, hey, I wonder what they're doing here. I guess we're just nerd out that way, but it's inquisitiveness. What are they doing? I wonder if I can make that better. Oh, wow, that's cool. I wonder how they did that.
Right. And my point bringing it up is, back even when Fred was there, you were one of the first companies to come up with a cybersecurity policy to protect your customers by making sure that your employees, were not infecting the system. You had a process in place before it really even hit the mainstream. So, I bring that up because you guys, I think sometimes maybe you don't even realize just how far ahead of the curve you guys are with a lot of stuff. So I applaud you for that.
I think that's solid stuff. And that's what I was trying to get across earlier, is that customers can feel good about the solutions that McKinney's brings to them, because you're not just going to go out and just do anything, right? You're going to make sure that it's something that you believe in, something that you would install in your home or your place of business, because you think that it makes sense for them. So on that point, what are some new opportunities you've seen to offer solutions for customers that dealing with COVID?
Man, I'll never forget that phone call with you back in February where I said, Rob, you, Bonner, your other team, y'all really need to be in my office at 7:00 Monday morning. And you were like, what? And we're all looking down the barrel of what if, right? And we were like, okay, we've got to ensure supply chain. And again, to theme this all together, it goes back to the theory of taking care of our customer, right? We saw a crisis coming, and we said, okay, how do we have product? How do we have technology that is going to be able to support our customer base so that there's no downtime, so that we keep them up and running, keep them healthy? So let's stay along that line of thinking. Right now in the marketplace, you are going to see vendors crawl out of the woodwork trying to capitalize on making money in a crisis, right? Don't waste a crisis. We've all said some version of that. So you're going to see people trying to sell any number of things that may not work against COVID or whatever. So if somebody walks into you as a customer's property and they already have instant solutions for you and they've never looked at how your building operates, please run away.
Yeah, good point.
You can't make those kind of decisions. Or back to my previous reference, you absolutely should not. ASHRAE has done a fantastic job of really saying what should be applied, what could work, what would work. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. So certainly at McKenneys, we have a large community of engineering staff, engineering team members, and we look at this. We started writing this stuff back in March, going, okay, you know, what is the industry saying we should do to help prevent, mitigate, keep our customers and their occupants safe? And certainly we've been following those guidelines. You'll see things about ionization. You'll see things about better filtration. You'll see, you know, there's customers out there that are spending 6 figures on automatic thermal scanning. And I'm very leery of this kind of thing. And sure, you can do it. Yes. And I would help you do it if you were adamant that that's what you want to do. But is that the best use of your money? Is that the best use of your very precious customer resources? So let me specifically answer your question. The first approach that I'm going to have, or any of my team across the entire company at McKenneys is going to have, is what was your building originally designed to do? And is it even doing that? Before you start bolting on things, you've got to understand how that building was designed. You can suck the windows out of a building if you really start messing with stuff, right? So let's look at how it was originally designed. Then let's ask, what's it doing right now? And then what is the problem we are trying to solve? Everything from occupancy. How many people are in that conference room? How many people are in this area of modular offices? How many people came through the door? Did they get thermal scanned? Did the security system and the self-attestation forms that you may require, are they all working together? Did people do it? The propensity, though, and again, back to my could versus should, the last thing that all of our customers need to feel like is that the building automation system has now become Big Brother. And that's what we've got to be very careful of. Just because we can doesn't mean that we should. How can we operate a safe, efficient building that still takes care of our customers and gives them the confidence that it's okay to come to work? And I run that through the filter of, would I want my wife to go to work in that building today?
Nice.
And if you use that filter, man, you're in great shape.
Your wife maybe, but you got to be careful with that. Maybe we better go kids, because there's some people that wives might not. Send her there. It's not safe.
That's not a good analogy, man.
It is for you, because you've got an awesome wife.
You can't say that on the air, man. I'm just kidding.
We just did.
Yeah, I think we did. It just, again, ask yourself, you know, is this really right? Last on this topic, there are people in Atlanta and Charlotte that are still running buildings wide open, and it could be because of tenant agreements. It could be a lot of things. You are wasting your operational money. Let someone like me, not even me, it's okay, but let somebody come in. The most people, if they are reputable, will do this for low to no cost. How can we run this building in, for lack of a better term, semi-occupied mode, save you a lot of money on your energy, but still keep the floors relatively comfortable? What should we stop doing while we have empty buildings? There's huge buildings in Atlanta that are running just like they were with full occupancy in the middle of summer at the peak demand rates, right? So again, what should it do? How was it designed? What could it do? You got to take a comprehensive look. It's irresponsible to just come in and start putting in a system that somebody told you they read about in a magazine article, right? So be careful. Ask yourself, why are they trying to sell me this? Last thing is surround yourself with trusted advisors. You have to be able to trust the people that come into your building and say, as your partner, your operational partner for that building, man, all I can tell you is what I would do as if it were my building, right? That's what you're really trying to look for.
Right.
There.
And Stephen, I think to your point,
I want to hop
Rob.
in real quick and just
Sure.
one quick thing is, there's actually they've coined what just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's actually a rule. You know what the rule is, right?
What's that?
It's the spandex rule. Just because you could wear spandex doesn't mean that you should.
Oh my God! Well, I love that,
Rob.
Rob.
Here now.
So listen, I
Right.
I think the deal about Steven Johnson is there's no spandex there, brother. Right? You're not doing the spandex, but sort of getting.
When you're 6'6", bro, that is not a good look. It just doesn't work.
When you're 6 flat, it's not either. Trust me.
Well, but Stephen, sort of getting back to what you're saying, and I suspect for your clients, because you guys can get remote access to it and stuff like that, and that, knowing your engineers and all, to your point, I mean, if you're working with somebody like MCKenneys, you're probably able to go into that building and go, we don't need these zones on, we don't need those zones on. And as near as I can tell, what ASHRAE seems to be recommending is one of the main things regarding COVID is to make sure you get the proper number of airflows in, right? I mean,
Right.
so, but again, you don't want to be ventilating in a whole building that's, 30% occupied. So it really gets down to logistics, right? I mean, it's probably not about spending money to buy stuff you don't have. But it's more about, okay, having an integrator like you come in and go, okay, this is how the building's being utilized now. How do we make sure the tenants are safe that are in there? And how do we make sure we're not spending money to condition spaces that are not occupied?
So, I mean, think about this too. And again, I guess this is a little bit of country logic, but if it sounds too simple, it probably is. If your solution is, let's just open all the windows and get as much fresh air as possible, what do you do with all this humidity that you just introduced into 30 floors full of computers?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
This is Georgia and it's summertime. So you got to think about a lot more variables than just outside airflow. That's good. And it's certainly a part of the story, but again, a comprehensive look to everything that's supposed to be happening in that building. You got to have it.
Right. Right. Well, it seems like too, Stephen, from people we're talking to, and I know this is something that you guys are able to do for clients if they want to do it. It seems like if this continues, we might wind up being in a situation where the building owner is required to have one entrance with people coming in, maybe testing with I know when I go to the doctors or whatever, now they test when you walk in, there's somebody there with a thermometer that tests. And then one way out so that you can actually count the people coming in, the people coming out. And I know that we probably don't have time to get into that technology now. I just wanted to bring it up because those are the types of solutions you guys are able to provide and talk about the pros and cons to customers and give them degrees of that. You mentioned earlier that, you could spend all kinds of money to have that automated. And, there are other solutions. And I bring that up simply because I think you guys would be able to talk somebody through all their options.
So, I mean, going back to my property management days, one of the things that I learned very quickly is just because you can leverage technology doesn't mean that you should. Is there a logistic solution to this? Can you minimize your entrances? So there's more than one way to do this. And certainly there's a lot of technologies out there that are emerging. There's a lot of different uses for camera applications. And again, how do we do this without giving up people's freedoms? I want people to be safe, but I also don't want people to feel like that every single moment of the day somebody's watching them. I don't really like the term new normal. I think we are in the days of figuring out what normal is going to be. And I think that story's not yet been written, and we're writing it one chapter at a time. So yes, you can leverage technology. You can leverage non-intrusive technology. There's a lot of different ways to do this now. But again, there's no single path to right yet. If you can solve it with a logistical solution and don't have to spend money on technology, and I can't believe I'm even saying that, you should, right? But it's going to be a both statement as to how people count. So
yeah, but that's
people
what
are getting used to it.
Right.
All of our technicians, when they go in a building, it is normal now to wear a mask, to have to badge in, to attest on some form of a form that you are healthy. Maybe you have your head swiped with a thermometer. That is pretty much, that is normal. So it's interesting though that this normal all over the city, but you come out to the rural areas and they haven't caught up yet. There's still people, wandering around in every configuration. So
dude, I got to tell you a quick story here. I told Rob this. So I went to Alabama a couple of weeks ago to go mountain bike riding, and my wife works with the elders. She's a doctor, so she goes in and works with people that can't get out. So we're super, super careful about not doing anything where she could possibly get it and infect somebody that might have an immune system compromised. So I've got my mask on to get out of my mask to go into a convenience store. And immediately the woman throws her arms up and goes, "There's no money in the safe." And I go, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You got a mask on. I have no money in the safe." And everybody around me sort of backing off. I look around and nobody's wearing a mask. And I go, "Well, it's just because of COVID." She goes, "COVID what? Just don't shoot me."
Boy. Oh boy. You are a fairly intimidating fella. So
especially with a mask.
I have that same reaction.
especially with mask. But listen, I want to sort of end this, Stephen, with two things. First of all, when you said, we need to have a conversation because maybe you don't need to use technology to solve the problem. That's the sort of thing a trusted advisor would tell you. And when I think about you and your team at MCKenneys, I think of you guys being trusted advisors, people that are going to do the right thing, not the easy thing. And so my final sort of question for you is, obviously McKinney's does a lot from new construction to tenant services, mechanical, but let's zero in sort of on your department in particular, building automation controls. Some of our listeners want to get a hold of you guys. Sort of, how do they do that? And sort of walk them through the process. So if they pick up the phone or send an email, what happens next?
Sure. And feel free to publish my email address. They can email me directly. They can go to www.mckenneys.com. There's a whole page there on our building automation solution and our energy solutions. So just reach out. Our number is all over the internet. Just get in contact with us. Help us to be the people that really successfully help you. We're looking to be your trusted advisor. We're looking to be a partner to you to help you be successful and not just out there to sell something. So I think the website is certainly a great place to go. Take a minute and read about our history. It's interesting enough. It doesn't take long. And it just really shows the evolution of customer care at McKinney's. And then it helps you to make a better decision as to if you really want to partnership with McKinney's, right? So that's the best way. Jump to the website or publish my email address. I'll give you, my kid's cell phone number or whatever's good there.
Nice. Well,
that's probably illegal, so no, I won't do that.
Well, we love it. And then Stromquist and McKinney's together, if you reach out to Stephen to do some work, and we got a special promotion in the next 30 days. If you enlist Stephen's or Stromquist services, we will give you a pair of spandex of your choice, either for you or for your significant other.
That is good. That is awesome. Good. And they will be, design provided by Mr. Rob Allen. How about that?
Yeah, because Rob wears spandex around the office all the time. That's part of what makes him so fun. So. All right, Rob, man, great stuff from Stephen Johnson, man, one of my favorite people in the industry.
It's tough to kind of sum that guy up, right? He's just he's just a rare guy that has a lot of talent, has a lot of forward-thinking ability, and at the end of the day, he truly cares about his customers and he truly cares about his people. And that's not just saying it, it resonates. You go talk to Drew and Christian and Charles, those guys, love and respect him.
Yeah. I think what I love about Stephen is he's a guy, he says what he means and means what he says. He's a genuinely a good dude, good guy. I feel fortunate to call him a friend. And again, check McKenneys out. McKenneys.com. Listen, Rob, before we hop off, really cool thing from KMC, which is one of the product lines Stromquist handles. I got it from Doug Miller. They are doing a whole series on lessons learned from industry leaders. Okay. And they've got week 8 is a panel discussion, how to safely reopen after COVID-19. Man, that's kind of a who's who on there, Rob. It's our friend Richard Newberry, Todd Bartlett from Gardner, Drew Harrison from Operations at Harrison Energy, Nate Kerr from Vicon. This is going to be some good stuff, Kenny. I keep calling you Kenny.
Hey, you can call me. You can call me Kenny.
All right, Kenny. All right. It's going to be great stuff, Rob Kenny. It's going to be Wednesday, July 15th at 2 p.m. I'll put a link in the show notes so that you guys can sign up for that. With that, my good friend Rob, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you filling in for Mr.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend. And listen, not to give you, it looks like I got some pictures from the ocean with a COVID mask. So maybe he's doing a photo shoot with Ralph Lauren on his yacht in the Caribbean. But the man, the myth, the legend will be back next week. But Rob, thanks so much for filling in. So with that, we will leave you with be bold, stay in control, stay relevant, and stay safe.
Indeed. Ooh, see?
Indeed, Rob Allen. You got to do a few thumbs up. Indeed,
Eric.
Rob Allen. There you go, brother. All right, man. Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys next week.